Hey everyone, this is Matt from Mashable, and I'm back with another episode of What to Play, Mashable's weekly video game recommendation series. This week I wanted to share a game that I've really been enjoying for a while now called Divinity Original Sin, a tactical RPG that fans and critics have been raving about since its release in June. Larian Studios raised $1 million on Kickstarter last year to make this game, and they have delivered on their promise of a malleable fantasy world with a refreshing take on party-based combat. You'll start the game with two characters which you can fully customize. Traditional classes like fighters and rogues travel alongside interesting new ones like wayfarers and shadow blades. Each have their own starting perks, but you can develop their skills in any direction you like, depending on your strategy and the other party members you pick up along the way. One of the first things you'll notice when diving in is that nearly all the objects in Divinity can be interacted with. If it's not bolted to the wall, you can probably pick it up, move it, throw it, look inside it, or smash it to pieces. This mechanic is central to the story, puzzles, and turn-based combat that makes Divinity so unique. More on this in a bit. There's a lot of dialogue in this game, and some of the most interesting conversations happen between your own party members. The characters who join you have their own attitudes and agendas, but you create the personalities of the protagonists as you play. How your leads respond to situations will make them more reasonable, charming, vindictive, intimidating, or forgiving. You can even have your party members disagree. If your altruistic knight is out to see justice done and your cynical battle mage is just in it for the gold, conversations may result in a quarrel that you can settle with a rock, paper, scissors minigame. It's a really fun role-playing mechanic for gamers who want to develop their characters' inner lives, and the relationships among party members also affect the story as you progress. Combat is initiated when an enemy spots you or you attack. The game is paused and a turn-based combat system unfolds exactly where you're standing. The environment becomes extremely tactical. The surface you're standing on, the objects between you and your foes, the sightlines of party members, even the weather has a meaningful impact on combat. Each character has action points per turn, and he can use them to move, attack, cast spells, use abilities, manipulate objects, or change equipment. The cost of these actions depends on the character's stats. Every battle is a chess game where position, timing, and planning ahead are key. Party members can opt to save their action points for the next turn, where they may be spent more wisely on the evolving battlefield. An enemy comes around a corner into view, or another party member has completely changed the environment with a magic spell. Wet surfaces can be electrified, oil slicks can be set ablaze, and poison oozes from barrels and the wounds of the undead. Even the best planned attack can be thwarted by a loose, flaming arrow. Divinity doesn't throw wave after wave of random encounters at you. Every battle is meaningful and challenging, and when your enemies are dead, they're dead for good. This makes progress feel very satisfying and never grindy. Leveling up gives you points to invest in abilities, and the higher your training, the more skills you can learn from books. You may be at the proper level and possess the required reading for that new blindness spell, but unless you have enough ability points dedicated to the school of witchcraft, you'll have to keep working. In my experience, this really forces you to save your points and specialize in abilities that will complement other party members. Your ranger probably shouldn't be spending her hard-earned experience on lockpicking when you're traveling with a rogue who already has a knack for it. As you might expect, Divinity has a central storyline with many branching side quests, but it doesn't hold your hand on the way to completing them. Notes are automatically added to your journal, but there are no quest markers on the map to guide you. You'll have to figure out what to do with dialogue clues and excerpts from books. Similarly, crafting gear and potions will require you to pay attention to the literature you find. There are no automatic recipe lists here. I do have a few small gripes with Divinity. The inventory menus and their relationships to party members and merchants can be cumbersome. I'm often not sure whose gear I'm looking at, and I can't purchase items because someone else in the party is holding my cash. And while the game is beautiful, some artistic choices err on the cartoonish side. Ridiculously large weapons or goofy spell effects reminiscent of theme park MMOs like World of Warcraft. I think a rich world like Divinity would have benefited from a slightly darker and more serious atmosphere, but that's just my opinion. The game certainly doesn't suffer for it. If you're longing for a hardcore RPG that feels like the old days of Baldur's Gate but keeps it fresh with deep, tactical combat, you can't pass up Divinity Original Sin, which is available now for Windows and Mac OS X. Thanks for watching What to Play here on Mashable. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, check out our other game recommendations here, and subscribe to this channel for new videos every week. We'll see you next time.